Chapter 4. From what has been said, it is clear that the guilt of sin consists in the perverse opposition of the will to the will of God, and that so long as the will continues thus evilly perverse, the guilt will continue. For those then in hell, who have departed this life with an evil will, there is no remission of sin, neither can there be, because there can be no more change of will. In passing out of this life the soul is fixed for good or evil, according to its deliberate purpose at the time, as it is written, "Where shall I find thee, that is, at the hour of death, with a will either to sin, or sorry for sin and penitent? There will I judge thee," and this judgment is final, because after death the will can never again be free, but must remain fixed in the condition in which it was found at the moment of death. The souls in hell, having been found at the moment of death with a will to sin, have with them an infinite degree of guilt, and the punishment they suffer, though less than they deserve, is yet, so far as it exists, endless. But the souls in purgatory have only the punishment for sin, and not its guilt, for the guilt was effaced at the moment of death, in that they were found then deploring their sins and penitent for having offended the divine goodness. So their punishment has a limit, and goes on diminishing in duration, as has been said, "O misery above every misery," and so much the greater because men in their blindness consider it so little. The punishment of the damned is not, indeed, infinite in amount, for the sweet goodness of God sheds the rays of his mercy even in hell. A man who has died in mortal sin deserves a punishment infinite in pain and infinite in duration, but God in his mercy has made it infinite only in duration, and has limited the amount of pain. He might most justly have given them a far greater punishment than he has. Oh, how perilous is a sin committed through malice! For hardly does a man repent of it, and not repenting, his guilt remains, and will remain, so long as there is any affection for the sin committed, or any purpose of committing it afresh. Chapter 5. The souls in purgatory, having their wills perfectly conformed to the will of God, and hence partaking of his goodness, remain satisfied with their condition, which is one of entire freedom from the guilt of sin. For when they passed out of this life, penitent, with all their sins confessed and resolved to sin no more, God straightway pardoned them, and now they are as pure as when they were created. The rust of sin alone is left, and this they get rid of by the punishment of fire. Cleansed thus from all sin, and united in will to God, they see God clearly according to the degree of light he imparts to them. They are conscious too, what a thing it is for them to enjoy God, that for this very end souls were created. Again, there is in them a conformity of will, so uniting them to God, so drawing them to him, through that natural instinct whereby God is as it were bound up with the soul, that no description, no figure, no example, can give a clear idea of it, as it is actually felt and apprehended by inward consciousness. Nevertheless, I will mention something like it, which suggests itself to me.